Okay, my name's Austin, and I guess this is my third video, or maybe fourth video on the Things I Love series, and it's a video about why I love the song Hey Ya by Outkast. Um, for this song, you know, my love of it comes from, you know, not necessarily any aspect of the song within itself, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the composition, the beat, and all the production is very interesting, and I think the lyrics and the first part of the song are really quite good. Um, but what I love the song for is what it is outside of, just the song itself. Um, and what I mean by that is, and I mean, obviously, I don't know what goes on inside Andre 3000's head at any point in time. I certainly don't know what was going on inside his head 20 years ago. But I consider this song to be an experiment where he is testing a hypothesis. And sort of the hypothesis that I'm going to discuss is sort of based in, how the song is laid out. So, obviously, start to finish production, something to dance to, something to have fun with, all of that. Just a really high, positive energy song. The lyrics, though, sort of, if you look at the first half of the lyrics and the second half of the lyrics are really quite different. In the first half, it's this sort of very, sad take on love and, whether or not relationships are supposed to last forever, all these different things. And very sad, serious couple of verses up front. And then with sort of the last part of the song, the latter half, it just turns into lyrics that don't say much of anything, like what's cooler than being cool, ice cold. And so you have this song where it's a dance track all the way through, production wise, but lyrically you're split between some very serious topics and some just very, I don't want to say empty, but certainly not very meaningful lyrics. And the in-between moment of switching from serious lyrics to just sort of let's have a good time lyrics is when, Andre 3000 says, y'all don't want to hear me, you just want to dance. And when I say this song was an experiment with a hypothesis, I think that line, y'all don't want to hear me, you just want to dance, was the hypothesis. Right? Because it's very hard for me to imagine a person sitting down and writing a line like that if they don't at least partially believe it to be true. Now, once again, I don't know what's going on inside any other human being's head. I definitely don't know what's going on inside of Andre 3000's head 20 years ago. But I just can't imagine a human being, it even occurring to them to write a line like, y'all don't want to hear me, you just want to dance, if you don't at least partially believe it, or if you don't suspect it. And, I can't prove it, but it's my guess that before, that song was released, Andre 3000 had come to suspect that, the fame, or maybe not the fame, but the success that his his music had attained didn't really have all that much to do with what he was saying. And it was just that they were starting to get, Outkast was having really good beats that, people were really getting into. And that, in a certain sense, even if he thought his lyrics were worth a lot, that's not what the audience really cared about. That, as long as he had a good beat, he could say anything and people would still like it just because of the beat. In other words, it didn't matter what he said at all. And I could imagine, if you're an artist, which once again, can't read someone else's mind, but if you're an artist that values yourself for your lyrics, and, if you're an artist that gets a lot out of, sitting down and writing songs and writing out verses, which, there are other things within Outkast discography would suggest that, Andre 3000 gets a lot out of the process of writing lyrics, like his second verse on AT Aliens. That if you're someone that puts a lot of value in the words that you're able to create, and you think that your audience doesn't care about these words at all, they just care about the beat, I can understand how this could be an upsetting notion. And so I think that Andre 3000 sort of had the suspicion of, y'all don't want to hear me, you just want to dance. And so he builds sort of the song Hey Ya, where once again it's, what he's saying, in the y'all don't want to hear me part, like what he's saying, the two halves of the song are very, very different in tone and substance. His lyrics, but it's a dance track all the way through. And so the experiment is basically put the song out there and see if people even realize what he's saying in the first half of the song, if they even notice that, it's this really, complex love song with a lot of sort of sad feelings to it, or if it's just everyone just loves the beat. Like, do people even notice how dramatically the lyrics change from one half to the other? And so, this in my mind is the experiment to test the theory, or test the hypothesis that y'all don't want to hear me, you just want to dance. You put a song that can be danced to the entire way through, with two different sets of lyrics in it, and see, does anyone even notice how different the lyrics in either half of the song are? And, this is sort of, in my mind, a moment where this song becomes, really tragic, because, all that happened is that it became a dance track. And I know over the years, like, eventually people have slowly started to pick up on the lyrics, but, when it was first released, when it first came out, especially, before the internet became large enough to have, people point out things to one another, this song was simply a dance track, and it succeeded in a way that was proof that, that people don't want to hear them, they just want to dance. The fact that, in a certain sense, this became more successful than any other Outkast song. I guess I need to fact check myself on that, but I think it spent, basically was their best charting song. Just sort of lends a tragic element to it. Because, yeah, I mean, it's just an artist sitting down wondering if his audience values him for what he values himself for. And the answer comes back very clearly, no, they do not. Um, and so, I mean, I think the thing that I love Hey Ya for, sort of, if all of my assumptions here are correct, you know, what I love about it is that a person would put themselves out there that far, that they would sort of speak out to a large portion of a society all at once and sort of ask them, do y'all care about me at all? You know, whether or not you get a positive or negative response to that, you know, it takes an incredible amount of courage to even ask the question in the first place. And it takes, you know, a lot to take the time to write a song like that. Because I think it'd be very easy to choose to simply not create that song, um, and to just focus on things that are successful, that, you know, you could just try to enjoy their success. But to sit down and make a song like that and to have the courage to release it into the world to see what comes back your way, um, I think that's pretty incredible. Um, and that's why I love that song.